Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Akansha, Mark, how are you both doing today?
Good.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome to yet another stream about enterprise security. We're going to dig into going back into the dashboard conversation and how we authenticate into some of our dashboards as well. If you actually think back to our very first stream with Mark, one of the things we ended up covering was using OpenUnison to authenticate into the Kubernetes dashboard and even authenticate into a cluster and just have kubectl access or kubectl access. One of the other things, though, that we wanted to explore that we didn't really get to was basically authenticating into a tool called Kiali. Now, for folks that are not aware of what Kiali is, it's actually a tracing tool that's used alongside a service mesh called Istio. And what you normally do with that tool is, well, when you're running Istio, you're able to tell service to service interaction. You're able to tell latency that exists between services. You're able to even understand some of your failures between services. Maybe there's a failed service in a request path. And one of the coolest things about Kiali is that it's not just a bunch of like log lines or text. You're actually seeing a visualization of your service interaction. So it's really cool. And Istio as a service mesh, yet another cool technology where we deploy sidecars alongside our workloads. And those sidecars act as a proxy that behaves as the system that accepts connections on behalf of the service. So a service doesn't even have to think about the networking. It doesn't have to think about ways to talk to other services. It just knows it needs to communicate outbound, but the proxy or the sidecar itself takes care of the rest. Now, there's other things that Istio as a service mesh does. It actually helps facilitate some of the authentication that we get to see. It even helps facilitate inbound communications from the outside world using something called ingress technologies. So we're actually going to quickly review some of the existing setup. In fact, I was lucky that I didn't have to go back and reset everything up. So we're going to use an existing cluster that we used a little while ago. And we're just going to add in the Kiali bit. But afterwards, I'm going to be a little bit daring, and we're going to try and upgrade the cluster as well as Istio, because I just want to see what happens. I wanted to do it yesterday, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me wait until we've actually installed Kiali and gotten the hooks into OpenUnison, and we're able to authenticate, and then we could go mess around if we've got extra time. Now, having said that, Marc, thank you again for coming up to the show. Any thoughts, any questions, anything you'd like to add about the Kiali bit, and what was the motivation behind that too?
So thanks for having me, as always. So there are a couple of aspects of it. One, your clusters are more than Kubernetes, right? Like, you have an API server, yes, but you have service meshes. You have dashboards, monitors, all sorts of stuff. And all of those GUIs have their own sense of identity. Some of them need to interact with the API server, some of them don't. And a lot of times what I have seen, and this is a big part of motivating me to try and make it easier to integrate these applications, is all right, I'm going to run kube control port forward, and I'm just going to access it that way. So what's scary about that? Well, first off, when you open up a port on your local system, even if it's just accessible to the loopback, right, 127.0.0.1, there's nothing on that port to protect you, right? Like, your browser can't access it directly. Like, you couldn't go to, say, a website, you couldn't go to Reddit, and some Reddit post couldn't have a comment in there that redirects you into it and does something bad. Like, the browser will protect you against that, but you run a script locally and it's talking to loopback, there's nothing you can do to stop it. And so, like, in Kubernetes and Enterprise Guide, I actually wrote a little bit of malware to deploy a crypto miner to the Kubernetes dashboard via port forwarding, right? And it doesn't take much, right? Because it's just an API. There's no authentication. There's no security. you're just relying on the fact that you control your local machine to be able to keep you from being able to do something bad. It's also just a horrible user experience, right? Like, how many tools are out there to manage port forwards? And it's like, really, like that seems like a really bad way to fix that problem. So because OpenUnison already integrates with Kubernetes, it's already got like all the components. We're like, well, how do we make this easier? And it didn't hurt that we had a customer using Kiali that, if you're not doing the port forward thing, the other thing you're doing is you're generating a service account and handing out a token, right? Which is another major anti-pattern, right? Service account tokens are not meant to be used from outside the cluster. They're long-lived. They're difficult to revoke. They're difficult to rotate. They're not being stored properly, right? Like, all the different reasons why we say don't do that. Don't have your pipe. We talked about pipelines and authentication a couple of weeks ago, right? I think that was a couple of weeks ago. Scattered, right? But like, that's true of web UIs. So if you're handing out tokens to get into Kiali or any other dashboard, you're doing it wrong, right? For the exact same reasons. So we wanted to simplify it, and we wanted to make it easy. And so what we actually did was we said we looked at the way we were integrating different applications, whether it was Kiali, Dashboard, Prometheus, Grafana, Kubernetes, all these different applications. We said, how can we do this in such a way that requires the least amount of thought on your part as a cluster operator? You got enough to do. You don't have to worry about SSO integration. And what we finally figured out was we said, if we look at all these different applications, they all follow the same basic patterns. You need a host name to be able to access it. You need a certificate. You need authentication, right? Some way to trigger the authentication. That's usually a reverse proxy is the easiest way to do that. And then once all the authentication is complete, you got to talk to it. That's what the reverse proxy does. So how do you go talk to the thing? And then you've got to integrate the identity. And so depending on what the application is, you might have different ways to do that. Now, because Kiali interacts with the API server on your behalf as a dashboard, similar to the regular Kubernetes dashboard, it needs to take your identity and use that with the downstream API server. So because we already know if you're doing impersonation or if you're using OpenID Connect, we don't need to ask you those questions again. So we were able to integrate all those different integration points into an addition to your values.yaml for OpenUnison. So it's not a separate chart. You just add it to your values.yaml and you're integrated. And this is true of any cluster management application.
That's fantastic. So that's some great backstory there as well, because I think sometimes folks need to understand why people even begin to think about using Kiali, and then what additional problems that creates for you, especially if you're trying to manually manage credentials and access to that dashboard as well. So thanks for sharing that. I'm actually curious about, just sidebarring for a second, what is the motivation for your background? Like, what when I look at your background there, Marc, you've got like a bunch of things on your shelf there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a tour of my office. I don't know how much you can see. So I am a Disney and a Star Wars nut, and I am not afraid to say it. So that's the far side. So the book, right? And there's my oldest son. That picture is from, oh God, he was still in preschool, I think, at that point. And then we got Galaxy's Edge, so my holy place down in Disney, and one of my favorite Star Wars sets. And then that picture above it, bought that in Hawaii when my wife and I went. I think we got that one in 19. So that is a stormtrooper walking on the sand with a surfboard. And then I guess I'll go to the other side. So up here, we have some of my favorite things. I'm going to see, can I get everybody? Yeah. So we got Figment, Went to Disney World for the first time in almost a decade with my family last January, and we didn't plan it this way, but it just so happened to be during Epcot's Art Festival. So they do these special popcorn buckets.
Mhm.
And so it just happened to have Figment. And if you've ever been to Disney World, there's a ride called Journey to Imagination with a terribly campy and corny song. And I love it. It's my favorite ride in the world. So I was like, okay, well, I got to have this. And my favorite part of this thing is it's great for hiding things because this shows butt here. It's a popcorn thing. So that's where the popcorn is supposed to go. So you pop down the snout. So it's a great place to hide things. So that's that. And then my mouse ears for R2. And then these things are, if you've ever been to Galaxy's Edge in Disney World, there is a bar called Olga's. It's supposed to be like that cantina in A New Hope, right? Where it's just a hive of scum and villainy. And so you can get a flight of beers there, and they come in this obscenely expensive rack. These are supposed to be Rancor tubes. So this is stupid. It's horrible. I hate myself for doing it, but fish gotta swim. And then I love my Legos. So we got oh heck, now I can't remember his name. BD1 from the Jedi series. And then this is just the sign I got I thought was cool at Galaxy's Edge. So when KubeCon was in LA, 2021, I think, spent a couple of days to go visit the mouse and talk about a lightly used X-Wing. So I got that. And then this is when we went to Paris.
Just this recent
for
trip,
KubeCon.
right?
Yeah, my most recent trip. Can't go to Paris without going to Disneyland Paris, which was an interesting trip. So there they took their hyperspace, their space mountain that they created, which really interesting because it was all like Jules Verne and it was all the European sci-fi writers of the 1800s, and they converted it into hyperspace mountain. So instead of being all the imagery of the 1800s idea of the future, they changed it to Star Wars. So like you feel like you're riding in an X-Wing in a battle against the Empire, and you're doing all these loop-de-loops and corkscrews. And I thought that was cool. So and I've got another one that I haven't brought in yet. When we were in Paris, my son plays Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
and,
okay.
We wandered into one of these game shops, right, where they have all the role playing games, D&D stuff like that, and card games. And they had Pokemon, but it was in French, and my son thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So we picked up a bunch of Pokemon cards that were in French, and then I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And there's a Star Wars card game. I don't play the card game, to be honest, but again, I just wanted to have French Star Wars cards because I thought that was cool. So I haven't brought it in yet, but I've got a frame with a bunch of cool cards, and they're all in French. So I thought that was cool. So yeah, so my journey of Star Wars, tech, family, and Legos and Disney. So that's my background here in the office anyway.
Awesome. Akansha, what about you? Like, what's the motivation for your picture there?
Oh, like I'm into paintings for like over a decade. So I do acrylic painting, and there's no motivation behind it. It's just like I love to play with colors. And for this painting, I particularly wrote my caption as "Love is in the air." So it's a very old painting, but there is one more which I made. So this one again.
Oh wow! Oh, so okay,
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so even in my like drawing hall, I've made a really big painting. So I've been into art since forever. So yeah, like all bright colors fascinates me a lot, and I'm quite creative painting. And
Y'all need to do a live stream of Concha's art.
Yeah, we should.
It doesn't always have to be tech.
Concha
It should be
painting.
totally something interesting.
I'm too embarrassed to even tell y'all what my background is. I just collect like plushies wherever I go, and I just throw them up on that. I have to rearrange though. I have to. I'm redoing my office in the next couple of weeks, where I'm just shifting this couch out of here, and then I'm gonna throw some other stuff up. But anyways, let's get into some of the hands-on stuff today. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we will take a look at this console window. Okay, let me know. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Sweet.
So actually,
Okay.
even before you share that, can you open up a browser window?
Yeah, let me reshare, because unfortunately StreamYard doesn't allow me to. StreamYard, if you're listening, by the way, here's your opportunity to take some of this feedback, some critical feedback, where we can share multiple screens. This
That
can be
would be
extremely
cool.
right. All right, so I'm actually at my Okta screen, but let me know where we're going to go.
Yeah, so go ahead and go to openunison.github.io.
Unison.github.io. Applications Kiali, is that the one?
That's where we're going to go. So yeah, that works.
Cool.
So we kind of lay this out here. I got to update some of the graphics, but keep scrolling down.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I noticed: the with impersonation and without impersonation. Maybe if you've got a moment, you can.
So go back up to the with impersonation. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen here is you've got a load balancer, right? That load balancer is hosting, is hosting our public IP address for OpenUnison. That load balancer has a star DNS on it, right? Or I forget. Are we using NIP?
NIP.io.
Okay, so that's the same thing, right? So it's easy enough. So that points to inside of your cluster. There's a gateway from Istio, right? That gateway hosts a virtual service. The virtual service then points to OpenUnison. So OpenUnison is a reverse proxy in this instance, in addition to being an identity provider. So that's a big difference between OpenUnison and other identity tools that you might be using for Kubernetes, right? If you're talking about Dex or Keycloak, those are identity providers. Those will generate the token, but that's it. If your application doesn't know how to speak to that or doesn't know how to translate that, you're out of luck, right? Whereas OpenUnison is both. It's both the identity provider and the reverse proxy for your management applications. That gives us a unique ability to do things that you can't do with other identity tools. So as an example, short-lived tokens, right? If you want to make sure that your token is short-lived in each request, you want your token to be short-lived, whether it's kube control or whether it's coming in from your reverse proxy. So we maintain a token inside of your session, and that token is refreshed every 5 minutes, right? So it's just constantly recycling, and it's totally transparent to you. You could do that with like an OAuth 2 proxy, but now you're relying on an additional layer of session management. We take that away. The other thing that we do is we hide cookies. So Kiali generates cookies. All applications generate cookies. That's how you manage session state. Those cookies never make it to your browser. So you only have one cookie that has to get destroyed, and all the cookies that your application generates goes with it. So you don't have to worry about that cookie management either. So there's a lot going on there. We do the authentication, and then we inject the identity down to the requests to Kiali. So what you don't need is a separate ingress for Kiali. You don't need a separate virtual service for Kiali. You don't need to port forward Kiali. We take care of all of that for you. We generate everything for you. So the nice thing about that approach is it makes things simple. What we're going to do, and because these are all APIs in Kubernetes, we just embedded everything in the Helm templates just to make life easy for everybody. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Because if everything works as expected, hopefully it should be wholly unspectacular. Knock on wood.
I
And it
think,
should
yeah.
kind of work.
Yeah. All right. So let's
so-
see what is it that I need from you? Probably just this one right here. No.
So you want to copy that block.
This one right here. Okay.
Yep. And that big giant thing that you're copying. So the way OpenUnison works internally is
Big, yeah.
those badges that you see on the front page are stored as base64 encoded PNG files. So that's what that is that's really the only easy way to be able to embed a PNG file into some YAML.
Okay, so what should I call this file?
Call it whatever you want. You're just going to copy and paste it to just store it somewhere.
So
because we're going to eventually integrate it into your values.yaml.
Okay. Let me just add this to a file here. Ooh, fun. Okay, got that. And then we need this as well, or no?
Yep, and that's going to be the command we run. Ooh, I got to update those graphics. That's the old version of OpenUnison.
That's okay. And I'm just going to, okay, that's all I need from here. And then we're going to go ahead and install Kiali, right?
Yep. So how are you going to install Kiali? Using the
I have a few ways. Yeah, I can do the sample add-ons because you just said as long as I have Kiali here, we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
And the add-ons, from what I remember, that does it via the operator, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
yes, it does.
I thought.
So let me just.
Oh, interesting. StreamYard thinks I'm you.
Oh, no. No. It's kind of interesting how that works. So I guess because you're authenticated into StreamYard as well, like any one of us can send as you if we wanted to. If that's, yeah. Actually, let me reshare my screen here. Okay, should be able to see this now.
Yep.
So CD Istio. Oh, am I right? Yeah, that's fine. CTL. Okay, perfect. The CTL version. I just want to make sure that it's picking up the right version of. Okay. Samples OS.
Samples or is it examples?
No, it's samples add-ons. That's what it is. CD add-ons.
Add-ons, that's right.
So there's
yep, there you go.
And let's just verify the cluster that I'm on. All right.
Always important step.
Always to make sure that
I personally have never taken out production by deploying and deleting things that were on a cluster I didn't think I was on, but I hear that might happen to people.
It might
from time to time.
I'm going to swap me. All right. So Sudanshu's asking, is it okay if I switch to a TV midstream? Absolutely. I don't think you're gonna. You might have some packet loss in that switch, but you're moving from one screen to another, so that's totally understandable. That's messing with you. All right. kubectl apply-f kiali.yaml.
I like how we got the cargo crew in here, Leon representing.
Oh yeah, there we go. Still got /a.
Okay, that's good. There's STL.
I was just looking for Kiali. There's Kiali. It's coming up.
There's Kiali.
Well, it's taking a little bit longer then.
Kiali takes a minute.
Yeah, that's right. It takes probably about a minute. There we go.
All right. So now, if you wanted to access Kiali right now, you would have to do a kube control port forward, right?
I could, or I could even use this TOCTL, the dashboard command that's available.
Well, that's still basically a port forward.
It's still a port forward. You're exactly.
It's still a port forward.
Right.
So what we want to do is we want to make it so that you can just access it using your enterprise security. We got this set up with Okta, from what I remember correctly.
Yep, exactly.
Correct. So when we did the original deployment, we used a values.yaml file that had all of our values. So you're going to want to grab that.
Oops.
Get values, and you need a release name. So like if you do a Helm list on the OpenUnison namespace. No dash.
No dash. Okay, just there we go.
Right. So it doesn't really matter which of these you take because they all use the same values file. But if you want to grab it from Orchestra Login Portal, that'll probably be the most representative, I guess, since that's the chart that we're going to be updating. Right, so that gives you all of the values. So what we're going to do is that monstrous YAML that you just copied from the website, we're going to go ahead and drop that in there. So why don't you pipe that into a text file of some kind?
1 second. Let me just CD out of here. I'm trying to think where I put that bit. Okay, there's the value set OU. Kiali values. I think I called it Kiali. Oh, okay, yeah.
It doesn't really matter what you call it.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and edit this file. And then there's going to be a section called OpenUnison.
Not that one under network, right?
Correct. It's going to be a top level.
There we go.
All right, and see how it has apps and it's an empty list?
Yep.
So we're going to replace that with what you copied off the website. So this is how you add additional applications into OpenUnison without manually configuring the different OpenUnison objects.
Ooh, okay. So that entire block is going to go in here?
Well, no, you're going to get rid of that. You're going to replace apps : so if you look at the YAML that you copied, it's OpenUnison app. So you're going to add an entry to the apps list.
I see what you're saying.
So you want to just paste in the that first entry, where it starts with a dash.
Yeah. 1 second. One thing I miss about having a full-size keyboard is the ability to just go right to the end of the line, and
Would you get one of these smaller mechanical keyboards?
No, I have a smaller Mac keyboard, so that's always going to be a blast. Actually, I think I might have solved this problem. Okay. You absolutely do not want to know what I'm doing right now. Hold on. ls cat.
Actually, we are going to need to run OU control. All right, that's not that big of a deal.
Okay, let's go back here. Make sure I got that right.
Make sure everything lines up, yeah. So you got to do some indenting.
Yeah, but where the heck did everything go?
It's right there. So no, go up 2 lines. One more. That's the start of it. So you want to indent that. Oh, but you got to bring the, and then you want everything to line up with name. So this is the first, go back to badge URL real quick. Sorry, before we do anything. So this is the first thing that you need to edit is obviously you're not going to kiali.domain.com. So you're going to want to do kiali. Whatever your nip.io domain is.
Should be 7. I think I did it just not too long yesterday or something. 74 dot. Yeah, it's. Damn it! Hold on. Had the yeah, I know what you're talking about. So it's the actual address of the cluster for the service IP.
Yeah, so it's going to be like 212 dash whatever. I think it's running in Sivo, right?
It is running in Sivo, but my IP starts with a 7.4 actually because it's in London.
Ah.
So it will be something like that.
.nip.io. Yep.
/Kiali still?
Yes. Yeah. You want that as the badge URL. And then we're going to inject the token.
Mm-hmm.
And then proxy to, that just tells OpenUnison where we're proxying to, like what the downstream is. Your AZ groups, you want to go back up to that. You're going to want to make sure that that's your admin group coming out of Okta.
Okay, let's double check Okta then.
Probably the same one that you use to create your RBAC cluster admin binding, if you remember back when we when we did our original setup. Yeah, just look for the word Kiali. There you go.
1 second. Sorry. You said it has to line up with the actual groups.
Well, so you've got AZ groups, correct? And then, so AZ groups, that's the groups that you want to authorize to be able to have access to this app. So,
I think I called it everyone. The group.
Oh, so you're just letting everybody access it from your, and that's fine. So you're going to want to delete that, the whole thing, like nope, even the domain, because this example is coming out of Active Directory, so it's got a full distinguished name. So, and then I think it's everyone with capital E.
Okay.
And then the next line is the last line. That's going to be your badge. You just want to make sure that lines up, which is a little difficult to do in VI. But yeah, looks good. All right, so now go ahead and save that. Do a Helm repo update. Make sure you got the latest charts. And then actually open up the values.yaml again. And then there should be go to the network section. Network section. Ingress gateway, right? Istio. Looking for. Okay, so we aren't create. Yeah, okay. So that's what I thought. So we're doing certs from
Istio
Istio.
generator.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
doing certs from Cert Manager. I remember we deployed Cert Manager.
Not for this. I don't think so.
It should be.
I didn't see a. Hold on. Let's see. Get an S. Oh yeah, there is a cert manager. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
So what we'll need to do is just make sure that we update our TLS cert, but we can do that next. So go ahead and save that. Or actually, we didn't make any changes, so you can just quit out. And then go ahead and do OU control.
Oh.
Install off portal. And then the path to your values file.
That's it.
Rock
Any
and
other
roll.
flags?
Nope.
Ooh.
Dash slash. Do dot slash.
Oops.
What do you want, Windows? I guess it didn't like that. What's going on here? Oh, I bet I know why. Take a look at your values.yaml file.
Line 96. Oh my gosh. Is there a line jump command that you can remind
Yeah,
me?
do colon 96. Okay, are we just not lined up? Go up a line. Go down. Yeah, that's why I hate doing this in VI. Apps. Name is Kiali. I mean, that looks right. Is it tabs versus spaces?
I wonder if this is a tab. This could be a tab.
Well, the fact that it's 96 specifically tells me that something with that line. Either that line or it's the AZ groups everyone line. Don't you love YAML?
Love it. Nope.
Nope, still doesn't like it.
Did not find expected.
So that usually means that the problem is maybe the line previous. So where you have everyone, maybe that's the problem.
AZ groups. Is it AZ groups or is it something else?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
Now this is just a weird formatting problem.
Mm-hmm. I could pull this into VS Code quickly. And
yeah, do that. Let's make our lives easier.
All right, 1 second.
And then I hope I'm getting your name right. Sudantsu has a good idea of showing the control characters. And Sudantsu, if I mispronounce your name, I'm very sorry.
Can you all see that?
Yes.
96.
Oh yeah, it's not counting it as. You can see it's not counting it as YAML.
Oh, what happened here?
As I mean, that's all correct. All right, so it's definitely nice to scroll back up to the beginning of the line, and then back it up all the way to the beginning. Yeah, the problem's line 95. I don't think the problem's line 96.
Is there a way to end this or X?
No, try this. Just get rid of the line entirely because we can always recreate it. Okay, let's stop.
Why did
Yeah, so
why is this?
I don't know that. Why is it not like
There we go.
weird? Okay, try this. Do a pipe dash.
Oh, let's try the semicolon. See, sorry, the quotes and see if that works. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you want me to do?
Do a pipe space pipe dash. Nope, the dash has to be up against the pipe. And then new line. And then indent it a little bit. Yeah. That should. Or that seems okay. Weird. Oh, what's going on there? I wonder if something just didn't paste properly.
Maybe.
Base64 encoded. Yeah, that all looks okay. All right, go ahead and save it and re-upload it, and let's see if we can rerun it.
No. Line ends. Did not find expected key.
All right, so do this. After the icon,
Yeah.
put colon greater than.
Like that?
But space after the colon. Yep. And scroll down. I want to see what happens after that. Does it still have an error at the bottom? Application or authentication. All right, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to send you. I wonder if something just didn't get weird. Hold on a second. Let me. I had this open. Here's the icon.
It's always something. Could be something formatted. Yeah.
Yeah, something might just have not made it. So I'm going to email this to you, Marino, to your EmpathyOps.
Cool.
Marino, YAML.
Furiously hitting refresh here.
There we go. Where'd StreamYard go? There it is.
So is it some formatting issue?
All I'm thinking is I might have just miscopy and pasted something. Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. Don't use that because that's the Prometheus icon. We're not doing Prometheus. That would look really weird. We want Kiali. Here's Kiali. This is where we insert Homer saying, I YAML, the cause and solution to all our problems.
Leon's like, who said it's always DNS? Sometimes it's just YAML.
Yeah. All right, let's try that. All right. I just sent you the correct.
I don't have that installed. Sorry, Sudanshu. Maybe next time. Hitting the refresh ultra hard here.
And this reminds me of Engin's talk, I guess, no YAML talk.
Yeah, because it's all about Pulumi. All right. I'm going to copy this and we're going to go back to, I guess we're just going to remove whatever's in the icon section.
Yeah, let's just get rid of that. Make sure that, because I suspect what's going on is that there's something in there that's triggering the text parsers to say this isn't really a string.
See how it moved back?
Doing the same thing. Hit and okay, so you're on line 97. Now do do 2 spaces or 2. Okay, now go back to icon. Space. Pipe dash. All right, so that should include that in there. So now if we go to the very end of that, does it complain?
Yeah, it's complaining.
Highlight authentication. I just want to see what the error says. Sorry, hover over authentication.
All mapping items must start the same column YAML.
So maybe authentication isn't lined up?
Marino, like Sudhanshu is saying that if we could zoom in a bit.
Where does the authentication have to line up with?
Oh, that's why authentication needs to line up with apps. That's the problem. So backup apps one, and then that should now line up with authentication. That's why. No, your name was fine. That can be there. But now if we scroll down to authentication, which will be on the next line, there we go. That solved it.
Okay, so now let's just kill this.
No, you still need that because that's on a new line. But
then, what about all of this? It's all blue.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, go back up. Get rid of that. And then bring the next line, bring that back up because that's all one line. There we go. That should fix everything. Still not highlighted, but I think that's okay.
Okay, let's see. Nope. Oh, hold on. What? Line 2.
Okay, that's fine. See those 2 lines at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, those get added. Those aren't valid YAML.
Just kill them?
Those get added by Helm.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wait. Shoot.
You're not sharing.
Yeah, I'm not sharing the right screen, but let me reshare. There we go. Okay.
All right. So what's going on here? So OU control is just running Helm basically for you in a sequential manner, and it's making sure that one step finishes before the next one goes. So the first chart that runs is the operator. That part doesn't change. The next chart that runs is orchestra. So that's kind of the engine that drives everything. That also creates the virtual service. So right now we have a virtual service for OpenUnison dashboard and the API server. We want to add a virtual service now for Kiali. So that's what's happening next. And then the last part is, so right now you can see that it's got 2 pods running, 1 pod's ready. So it's waiting for the old one to die. And then the last bit is once, it's really weird how it takes longer for Java-based stuff to die than it does to come to life, and there's probably a legacy joke in there somewhere. But once that second pod dies,
because it's redeploying OpenUnison effectively.
right. So what's happening is OpenUnison has an operator. What that operator does is it primarily looks at the different keys and certificates and generates a key store. If you look in another tab, is it in a terminating state? Like one of them should be terminating.
So I'm just looking at OpenUnison Orchestra was redeployed 66 seconds ago. And then the Kubo IDC proxy has been deployed 70 seconds ago.
Yeah, there should be a pod called OpenUnison-Orchestra.
No.
There should be two.
Oh, yeah. There's only one of them at the moment.
There.
One of two. Yeah, I only see one of two. Yeah.
Why is there...
Here, let me show you what I see.
Oh, wait, there we go. We're good.
OpenUnison Orchestra is running.
So now it's just waiting for waiting a moment for the webhooks to settle.
Yep, we're all good.
And then now we're updating all of the objects inside of OpenUnison. So internally, OpenUnison kind of deploys a very base level, and then everything else is driven off of CRDs. So what the chart's now doing is updating all of the CRDs that say, this is OpenUnison. So you're now good. You're deployed. So go ahead and try logging into...
Kate's OU.
Yep.
All right.
We might need to do one more step, but let's check here first.
Let me share my window here. Okay. Okay, here's Okta.
Go ahead and sign in as Okta. Yep.
I don't want multi-factor right now. That's not what I wanted to do.
Oh. Let's see. Can we get past the MFA prompt?
Why is it taking me here now?
Try going back to Kate's OU. You might have just gotten...
We went into this last time, right?
Resource?
Yeah, we did. In one of the streams we did.
Unknown error accessed an identity provider. Unknown. Go back to... I wonder if something got messed up in this app. Go back to OpenUnison. Take a look at the OpenUnison Orchestra logs.
1 second.
Yep. All right. No, that all looks good. I think the problem was on Okta's end, not on...
Yeah, let me try something else
OpenUnison.
here. Let me try one thing here. Kate's OU. What was the URL again? And Akanji, you should be able to try this too, because your account should have access. So I'll paste the, if you go to the private chat, try to get to that URL. Oh, I'm getting the same error. The resource owner or authorization server denied the request.
Yeah, so I think that's something with within your
Okta.
Do you have a local account in Okta you can use? Instead of
I
using the,
I
because my guess
can
is
create a
there's something about the way you set up the SSO in Okta.
I guess I can create a local user. Add person, type user, first name. We'll call it Kube Huddle. Last name Toronto. Dang it! Username must be an email. All right. Mm, this is gonna be interesting because I don't know what email to use.
You can trick it. So do like alias plus and then Marino at.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I do with my testing. I guess you're not tricking it. You're just using a feature that Google gives you.
You said You said the alias at, or sorry,
Yeah,
alias.
so like I'll have like username plus, Marc at Tremolo.io because that's a real email address. Hopefully there are no other vendors listening to this who want to spam me.
All right, groups activate now. Save. Okay. Huh. Let's see what happened here.
And then go into, if you want to share your screen, go into applications for Okta.
Oh yeah, 1 second. Present, share screen. Here we go. Let's go for some inception here. Okay. Can you see that?
Right, so click on go to applications and then OpenUnison is going to be in there. Yep. So click on that. And then at the top where it says assignments, click on configure sign-on policy. Or no, that's not. No, go back to sign-on or assignments. Implicitly assign. App sign-on policy. Okay, so configure sign-on policy. All right, so click on OpenID Connect.
Can't do anything.
Okay. Oh, that's why. Scroll down. See where it says Federation Broker optional? Edit. Disable it. So this means your Google users won't be able to sign in for now, but we're trying to get there you go. And then now go back to your application.
1 second. Sorry, where do you want me to go?
Click on go back to applications, and then go to Kubernetes cluster, and then click on assignments. There you go. Now find your people. So you got to search. Or there you go. So go ahead and whoever you just created. Yep. All right. So now you should be able to log in. Yeah, maybe do it in an incognito window. Or yeah.
All right, new incognito window.
Then you're gonna have to because StreamYard, hint hint, nudge nudge. All right. So now try to go to your
domain.
Your OpenUnison URL. and sign in with that kubectl account.
Well, what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to go back to the user and reset the password because I can't remember what the password is. More actions.
I cannot make Okta easier to use. Sorry. Actually, that's not entirely true. But
Okay, here we go. So Okta plus Marino at Empathy. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it gonna screen? Okay. Super secure password.
super secure. Now, in real life, obviously, you'd want to set up MFA. So go ahead and click on Kiali. Let's see if this works. All right. So I figured that that's what was going to happen, which we can fix.
Love it.
So now,
Oh,
notice it has no idea who the heck you are. Right? Look in the upper right-hand corner. You might want to make your text
it's
a little
anonymous.
bigger. Okay? It's anonymous, right? So you're in there, but you can't do anything. It doesn't know who the heck you are. So let's go ahead and fix that. So go back to Kubernetes.
The cluster?
Yep.
1 second. I got to figure out where the heck I am window-wise. Biggest feedback I have for you, StreamYard. I'm telling you, y'all are listening. You know, multi-screen sharing. I'm telling you. Okay, that's the one. Cool beans.
All right. So there is going to be operator. So what we need to do is we need to tell the now I can't remember off the top of my head. Hold on. It's a good thing I wrote a book about it.
Is this the one, the OpenUnison operator?
Not the OpenUnison operator. It's the Istio operator.
Oh,
So
Istio operator. Okay.
So hold on. We did. This is the last edition of the book, but we actually
it's in a config map, I think.
In there, yeah. I think it's config map. Yeah. Oops. Of course, I embedded in the script. But yeah, I think there's a config map called, because I don't think there's an actual CR. But I think there's a, if you look at the config map inside of Istio system. Kiali?
You want the Kiali config map?
Yeah. You're going to want to edit that.
Yeah. Let's just do an edit instead of get.
All right. So see where it says auth and has strategy?
Yep.
Hold on a second. Let me double check here. Chapter 17. We need to change that to. Did I never actually do this? I believe it's token. Change auth to token. Let me double check that real quick because now I'm.
Before I hit save. Because I'm going to have to redeploy with OUCTL, I guess, right? Or no?
No. Nope. Istio Kiali token authentication. Token strategy. Yes, strategy is token.
Okay.
So go ahead and save it. And then delete the Kiali pod.
Bye-bye.
So once once Istio comes back up, because here's the thing, Istio or not Istio, Kiali
Kiali, yeah, it's up right now.
is
It's almost there.
designed to be both multi-tenant and multi-cluster. So the way that Kiali gets deployed as part of OpenShift is it wants you to be able to manage multiple different clusters. So it supports a lot of different ways to do authentication. So that was anonymous. That was the most basic version, but it also supports, like, you can do direct OpenID Connect integration. Now, when it comes to cluster management apps, I tend to avoid direct integration, even if they support it, in favor of reverse proxy. And the reason is that most client libraries for OpenID Connect integration are terrible. And what happens is that they don't do a good job of refreshing tokens. So even when you have a short-lived, oh shoot, I gave you the wrong one. Hold on a second. So that's the wrong way. Kiali authentication. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart about this. Header. McFly. All right. So same thing. Go ahead and edit your edit the config map, and this time instead of token, it's header. Because even though Marc wrote this, he's a big dum dum. So yeah, so the strategy is going to be header. Token is when you generate a service account token and it uses that. We don't want to do that. We want to do a header.
Header like that?
Yep. So the reason why you want to do I like to do reverse proxy, even when OpenID Connect is a strategy and is available, is that the client libraries don't generally do a great job of session management. Session management is hard. That's one of the easiest ways to break a web application, is to do some kind of session management. And the way that most web apps do this, especially with OpenID Connect, they just take the information, they encrypt it, and they jam it into a cookie. And but they don't have a great system for keeping that up to date. So in fact, when I first did the integration for Kiali with OpenUnison to support header-based authentication, they had just found a critical security bug in the way they did their OpenID Connect integration. So by putting OpenUnison in front of your management applications, I'm not going to sit here and say we've never been hacked, so we're super secure. What I will say is that we spend a lot of time doing negative testing. So not just, hey, can I get in? But hey, can the bad guys not get in? And again, I'm not going to promise that we catch everything, but what we do catch a lot of things. And it's going to give you a better bang for your buck. So now click on Kiali. And yay!
This is us.
That's you.
I love it.
And you have access to everything now. Right? Like that. Now you can see, well, okay, something might be broken just because we got to set up something internally. But like if you go to, that's weird. That usually works really nicely.
Right.
Yeah, so something's broken inside of Kiali, which is unfortunate because Kiali is a great dashboard. Click on applications. And then click on, look for OpenUnison. Or run service, anything. Doesn't really matter, I guess. All right, so click on OpenUnison or anything.
Yeah, because these all have side. Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. The graph's not loading. Oh, I see why. It's trying to go. We need to configure, and I don't know how to do this, but it's not going through OpenUnison to get to stuff. So we need to.
So because it's acting as the reverse proxy, right?
Right. Oh, I bet that's why. Huh. because I was looking at the config, and the config that I sent you from the book, it's from the book, and in the book I ended up configuring Prometheus and Grafana, so I bet that's why. But anyway, this is the point: is that now we have that working, and then so if we wanted to get spam likely is calling me again. That guy never leaves me alone. Yeah, but you got Kiali there. We can add Prometheus. We've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know if maybe you want to do that another day. We can add Prometheus and Grafana into the mix. It should be running. Is it running on?
No, and that's the other thing too. I just realized, I could actually deploy it really quickly if you allow me to. So give me a second.
I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, it shouldn't take long actually. I know exactly what you're going for, and usually when you deploy Kiali, you have to deploy Prometheus and Grafana along with the other sample add-ons. So
yeah, usually what I do is I deploy everything in that add-ons folder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you just do like kube control deploy star, that usually does everything.
Or dot. And you will see what I'm talking about when I reshare this. So you should see I went into the directory of Istio right here. And there's a folder called samples and add-ons. And then I just ran a kubectl apply -.
Yes, exactly. Now, we're probably going to have to change that config map that we edited, but that's not that big of a deal.
Why? Oh, to point to the...
It probably overrode it when you did the kube control apply.
No, it won't. It won't adjust the config map for Kiali. Where's Kiali here? See? Oh, it did configure it. Shit.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay. I thought I would have just left it alone. Okay. No biggie. Let's see all the pods. Yeah, it looks like it's all running. Loki? Oh. Yeah, I just realized they added something new. We don't really care about Loki right now.
What are they using Loki for?
Probably some additional telemetry.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's for ambient mesh, actually. But that's okay. Whatever. I don't think it's going to prevent us from trying to do anything. So
well, once that's running, you should now see the graph because it's going back.
We have to edit. Don't we have to edit the... You don't think so?
Okay. I don't think so because it didn't restart the pod, so I think we should be okay.
Oh, okay. No, we're actually getting stuff now. Oh, here we go. Okay, actually,
you're not sharing because StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yeah. How could you do this?
The villain of our story.
We're trying to do you a solid here, StreamYard. We're trying to really pump up your business here. Okay.
There we go. So now if you go to the traffic graph. Right. Hey, there we go. This is my favorite part of Kiali is seeing how the traffic goes.
So you can actually, I can even turn on the animation as well.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, the thing is though, okay, so you're seeing the animation go through. If I made calls to the hello world or the other services that we have running, you'd also see the same kind of flow of traffic. But you're seeing traffic coming into the Istio Ingress Gateway going directly to OpenUnison because we're talking to Kiali. So
right. And so what's cool about this is add the Istio namespace because it should Istio system, because it should include. So you're going to the gateway to OpenUnison. All right, so then it's going to pass through cluster. I thought I would bring up that it's now talking to Kiali.
Yeah, it shows NA for Istio systems.
I guess the sidecar probably isn't going on to the Kiali.
No, it's not because it wouldn't put anything on the Istio system namespace.
Right, so that's why it's just going to pass through cluster. But if you were to open the dashboard, I would think the Kubernetes dashboard will crop up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So now if you go back over to if you go back over to Kiali.
It's probably still won't come up because.
Oh, you got to add the Kubernetes dashboard to the namespace.
There we go. Actually, let's do this. Empty graph.
Mhm.
There's no sidecars there though, so there wouldn't be anything coming.
Because we don't add but you know what? We don't label the Kubernetes dashboard graph namespace. So
We could.
We could. You want to do it?
It's just it's going to require a rollout again. Hold on.
Kubernetes dashboard just takes a minute to roll out. I'm just curious. I don't even know if it'll work. I don't know that I've ever actually done it.
Well, let's experiment. Why not? I mean, we got our main part working. That's all I care.
Yeah, and what I think is cool about that is where do we spend all our time debugging? YAML, because it's Kubernetes, right?
Yeah.
Okta, right? And Kiali. The actual rollout itself ran perfectly the first time. And you spent no time at all debugging or configuring OpenUnison, right? It was just automated.
Yeah, it was so smooth. Like we were struggling with the other things, so.
And like the cool thing about that is that once you have OpenUnison deployed, you can now get cake and eat it too, right? You can have your enhanced security, and it can be a better user experience, right? Like it never ceases to amaze me how in the year of our Lord 2024, we're 6 months into 2024, how many times I see people say, I don't want to use a dashboard. It slows me down. Now, what slows you down is the extra garbage you have to go through to get to that dashboard. But once you get there, like that graph that we were showing, you can't get that much information from the API yourself. Like even if you're really good at the Istio APIs and the Kubernetes APIs, you can't get that much information yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the dashboard does. Why is it initializing? Is it pulling in? There we go.
Yeah, it just takes time.
That's
probably the sidecars.
Metrics. Yeah. Down with sidecars. Now here's the curious thing. See if it still works, because we're doing HTTPS. So I'll be curious to see if that works. We might need to tweak our dashboard integration to make this work properly. Now is the fun part of the live stream where we're just screwing around. Well, that part worked. Now do we see it in the graph?
Let's dig around to a few namespaces and pass some traffic along.
Actually, open up a pod and show the logs. That'll show continuous refreshing. So just open a pod and show the logs and hit auto refresh.
Mm-hmm.
So the Kubernetes dashboard recently went to version 7, and they redesigned the way that they split up their container that hosts the UI and their container that hosts the APIs. So we haven't yet integrated that with OpenUnison. I'm kind of going back and forth on whether we should rely on their Helm chart or just write our own and integrate it directly. We've been kind of going that route. I think I see stuff. Do I see?
Yep. So let's focus in on. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on here.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's cool. We go.
You can't get that from looking at the API. Like you'd have to go to Prometheus. You'd have to go to, all these different systems to get that. You look at a dashboard and there you go. Like you can see instantly everything's talking to each other. I mean, that's the beauty of dashboards, is getting all that information quickly. And, you know, once you get security out of the way, it's even better. And this will pass muster with any security team. Like if you go to a security team and say, we want, we want to use this dashboard. Because I've got plenty of customers that will say, oh, we won't allow you to deploy Kubernetes dashboard. It's insecure. No, it's not insecure. It's been deployed insecurely. Once we deploy it securely, like something that's cool is go to the developer tools. In Chrome.
Chrome.
All right. And then click on network so we can see what's going across the wire. You got to go
zoom in a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to make. There you go. Yeah. So if you go to the very top, see where it says elements at the top?
Yeah.
Click on that. Yep. That double bar.
Network tab.
There you go. Now click on anything. It doesn't really matter. And then there'll be a see where it says
you can even scroll it so it can become bigger. Like the tab.
Yep. Conscious got. And then see where it says cookies? Click on cookies.
Yeah.
Notice there are only 2 cookies. You have one from OpenUnison and you have one from Tremolo, which is also from OpenUnison. So you've got 2 Tremolo cookies. You don't have anything from Kiali.
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose. If those 2, you can kill those sessions and you're still golden.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's really amazing. Yeah.
I mean, the security folks go bonkers over that when they see, oh, there's no cookies. All the cookies that my app generates just, never make it to the browser. So you've really got that nice combination of security and functionality. And now you think about expanding that across your stack, right? You got Prometheus, you got Loki, you got, all this other stuff to make it easier. Oh, and you put it in right there. So like, I'm going to plug our friend Kat and Cargo, right? We added Prometheus, we added Grafana, we added Dashboard, we added, what was the, for KubeVirt, the KubeVirt GUI, all on that one screen, all with SSO, with that we used GitHub, right? But now you have access to all your GUIs to quickly see information, access that information. It makes you so much more productive.
I know. No, I totally agree with that, because now you're streamlining your authentication stream altogether. And that's it's so difficult to do when you have so many different logins to maintain and whatnot. So unification is probably the most critical piece about what OpenUnison is really doing. So cool stuff.
And something else I'll point out when it comes to a secure GUI and what that lets you do. Right? Like now you're not tied to your desk. Now, granted, depending on which way that goes, that can be a blessing or a curse. But like if you don't need to be tied to your desk to be able to do something quickly, that makes a big deal. If you've got a team that's dedicated, a lot of times, let's talk about it from an enterprise standpoint. You got teams that are dedicated to off-hours support, right? Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily experts. Like they've got a script, like literally a piece of paper, like cue cards of what to do and what to follow. If you can give that to them in a GUI, and I've got customers who have done this, who have said, you know what? Don't even debug it. Just delete the pod. Log into the Kubernetes GUI. They have a special role that gives them the ability to view and delete pods. You got off-hour support that has a problem? All right, we're just going to delete the pod. We don't care about the logs, because the logs are all piped off to Splunk or Elastic or whatever, or OpenSearch. Going to just delete it and hope for the best, and then escalate from there. You've now made your support people's lives easier. You've made your customers happier because things get acted on without having to have the SRE, that pass their CA, right, certification on hand. You're making everybody happy.
Exactly.
I just want people to be happy.
I think that's it, right? It's just removing the pain and the torture of having to manage different tools for authentication. Just reducing the cognitive load alone is what OpenUnison is really helping with. And I think a lot of folks need to just spend some time just looking at the technology. These two streams, this one and the very first one we do, is probably more than enough that you need to just like get going and test out OpenUnison on your own little environments as well. 3 hours, a lot of like back and forth, a lot of troubleshooting too, which probably will help you as well. But yeah, go take a look, check out OpenUnison. Folks, thank you so much for hopping into the stream. Akansha, Marc, any final thoughts?
Like,
Why don't you go ahead, Akansha?
OpenUnison is a full package, and like seriously, this was a really good stream. Except like we were not struggling with the OpenUnison part, rather the other parts. So that was the best part. It was easy, and it solves a very important use case for enterprises and individuals as well. So I'm really looking forward to the upcoming streams that we're gonna dive into the pipeline security, which is another important use case, and the namespace as a service. Yeah.
As always, thank you for having me, and it's always a blast.
Yep. Likewise, Marc. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise yet again,
Thank you so
Akansha.
much.
Thanks for being an excellent co-host. And to the audience, take care. We'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. See ya.
Adios.